Sigma's in the chat saying smash and dash. Oh, lordy. It is Budrush. Bellow. Oy vey. How is everyone doing? This is the Budrush Bellow, a live podcast where I am your host. I am Tommy Fresh. You know me from such things as Fresh and Buds. You know me from your local game store if you're in New Jersey. Unfortunately. Wow, who's talking over there? Well, it can only be Gary, aka Mr. Viz. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. Doing all right. Light week at work. Had a great weekend. Birds won, so we were partying a little bit over here. Yeah, I'm getting excited for Indy in a week and a half. You know,
yeah.
Get on the old plane and fly out there.
For sure.
Go to the Indianapolis Raceway.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't even know where that is in Indy. So maybe we're close. I don't know. I went to Indy last time. I didn't see it, but I'm glad that you had a light week of work. I did not.
Well,
so I am not salty about it whatsoever, but I'm happy that we're potting right now. I'm happy that we're chatting. It was snowing this morning.
It was?
Just a little bit in the Jersey, but North Jersey got a lot more, but near me it was kind of done by like noon or 1 o'clock, and it didn't really stick. A little bit too warm today. I don't know if we're gonna get any snow this year. I mean, it's been such a mild winter, so yeah. we will see. But who the hell knows? But I mean, no snow in Jersey, no snow in Flesh and Blood anymore. We're going to be talking about the bands today. We're going to go. We're going to crack some packs as always. We are going to have a Scabskin moment of the week, which actually I'm going to talk about a deck theory. A concept that I'm having right now today that came to me in a daydream. We're going to talk about bands. We have an update on merch. Gary has an update on merch. And we're going to talk about some decks that are getting better after the bans, right? And then we're going to also see an updated version of the Princess Chain, the chain with the tiara that we saw couple weeks ago, right? And because Gary's been rocking with it. So without further ado, do you want to talk a little bit about the merch? What's going on there?
Yeah, so I just wanted to give an update to everybody who picked up some merch. We got all of the beanies are done. They're sitting ready in Pittsburgh, getting a little ketchup on them, the old Heinz experience. But we're just waiting on some screen prints to ship from a vendor, and Jeff will be shipping them out very shortly. If you are located near Indy or you're gonna go to Indy, Jeff can bring them. You'll also be getting a direct email from Jeff personally, apologizing for the delay, and he will be including something special in each of the orders. I'm not going to reveal what that is yet, but it's very exciting, and we're looking forward to everybody getting their merch. I know I'm not packing any clothes to Indy. I'm just going to be wearing everything I got from Jeff. But yeah, so in the next week or so, it looks like the screen prints will arrive by the end of the week, and then Jeff will have them out by the next week. So
awesome.
Everything's good for Indy.
Very exciting. I can't wait to get my grubby little hands on the merch. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be having them hand delivered in Indianapolis as well. I do want to shout out to the Patreon, where you can help keep the lights on, the mics hot. Hey, listen, I have to take out a loan every time I buy eggs right now, and it just is what it is. So any little bit helps. So we appreciate anybody who has joined. It's a very, very kind thing, and we also do something new on the Patreon that last week I kind of screwed up. Whatever packs we don't open in the Scabskin roll, I will open in a video for the for the Patreon. Last week I did that, but I forgot to turn the mics back on after we we recorded. So it was very silent, but I will tell you there was nothing good in those packs. So maybe it was more of a blessing than a curse. So, but also want to give a shout out to the main podcast that I do, Fresh and Buds, to where you can listen to me talk to a lot of great people in the community and talk about stuff about the what's going on in the world of Flesh and Blood. And it's a lot of fun. It's not as silly as this, but we get silly sometimes, depending on the guests for sure.
Especially the Mo Bogley episode.
The Mo Bogley episode. It's a wild one. We're gonna get him back on. It's just like such a pleasure to have him on and talk to him. Syncrete says need more patrons to keep the mics on longer. But yeah, Fresh and Buds. Tomorrow we have Dagan White on, the man who has apparently self-proclaimed one brain cell. I think there's a lot more going on in there, but get to sit down with Dagan, who's become a nice friend and bud. Since I really got to hang out with him in Charlotte. So look forward to that tomorrow. But without further ado, are you ready to crack some packs?
Absolutely, Tom. I've got my Spew Shadow playmat here.
Cool.
They got this playmat with the package at Battle Hard, New Jersey, which I did not do very well in, but I had great fun in the side events.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, here we go. I'm gonna roll the dice, and we get a 3.
Ooh. I think we gotta crack those gambler's gloves. We want to try to open more than one, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Come on.
We cracking them?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're cracking them. Why the hell not? If you roll 1, I'll be pissed, but
50% chance you get 2 action points, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. It all worked out in the end. Well, not all worked out. So we are going to crack. Sorry, let me bring up this other camera here. One of these 3 packs. Pick 1, 2, or 3. Oh, I lost your mic.
Sorry. I rolled a 2, so might as well pick 2.
Oh, pick 2. Second pack here, and these 2 are going to be open for the Patreon later after the show. So
1 and 3.
Let's open this one. Is this the Fabled that I have yet to open?
Let's see. Command and Cookout right here.
All right. Puncture. More like no functure. Yeah, this is a nice playmat, Capolo. This is Doomsday. I got it from a bud. Has the same birthday as me, actually. Madcap Muscle. I looked at this card today, and God, I mean, it is a lot in a lot of ways. This is Endless Maul for Rhinar.
Yeah.
Take that as you will. I don't know. Withstand. We're not going to withstand that. Spectral Rider. Go Bronx Rider University. Hyper Driver. This card is playable, but
yeah. What color?
It's the red one.
Red one. Nice.
Slay the Scholars. Speaking of Rider University, I don't know. Cut to the chase. Let's cut to the chase. Remove this card, and there's going to be a Fabled, right?
Well.
We got a Foil Majestic.
Oh.
Phantasmal Symbiosis. I think this card's legit, actually.
Yeah. Turn any card into an illusionist card.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, this card makes me excited to play like illusionist at some point. Blessing of Spirits and Flex Claws. All right. Well, it wasn't the worst pack, but it certainly wasn't the best. As we know, the best would be a Fabled, which is Command and Conquer.
Or a Marvel Tiara, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Why, you want one? I
got one.
You got one?
Mm-hmm. I picked it up in New Jersey.
All the best things are in New Jersey. I'm just getting a sleeve here so that I can sleeve up this nice foil Phantasmal Symbiosis. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This card, don't sleep on this card, folks. Card's quite good, I think.
Yeah, it can turn E-Strike into an illusionist, and it can turn non-illusionist. It can turn non-illusionist sixes into illusionists, which means they can't pop them.
Yep, which is
So
pretty cool, pretty dang
yeah,
cool if you ask me.
yeah.
But let me get out of this here thing. So that was okay. We got 2 more packs we're gonna open in a few. We are gonna do that after the show and put it up on Patreon. But we're here for the rest of the show, Gary. Right?
Oh, we're not done.
We're not done. We got
Okay.
a lot going on. We have a Scabskin moment of the week, which, as I said at the top of the show, I'm going to show you a deck that I'm theorizing. I'm going a little crazy in the head. Also, when I was talking about the Patreon earlier, I forgot to mention the membership to the Romping Club. The Romping Club is a Patreon exclusive channel in the Buds Discord. The Buds Discord is, of course, free for everyone, but that channel you get to hang out in, and you also get a very, very nice membership card, which
Handwritten note, as you can see behind me.
Yeah, a handwritten note from moi. But so with that being said about Romping Club, this deck is about Romping Club, right? So let me bring it up here. Where the hell did I put it? I put it over here. All right, let's see. Boom. This is called clubbing. We're going clubbing. So this is just the bones of the deck, right? You know, what you might ask Tommy, what is this? What are you trying to do here? Well,
That's what I said when you showed it to me.
I love the card Brandish.
Okay.
Right? Brandish is awesome. It does not see a lot of play. But that being said, I just love the fact that you can pitch a blue, play your Brandish, and then have those 2 resources after to hit with a 2-cost weapon. So I was thinking about what are the best 2-cost weapons in the game. They're all brute cards. Hexagore, Romping Club, and Meat Axe. Meat Axe is just a little bit too variance if you're going to run things like Brandish. Doesn't make sense. Romping Club makes a ton of sense. Hexagore, I mean, if there was a way to just turn off Blood to every turn, Hexagore would make the most sense, because then you're just swanging for 7 if your Brandish hits. But so I wanted to build a deck that almost felt like a warrior deck, but it's all around your Romping Club, right? So I'm playing things that buff your club. So we got the Brandish. We got a full suite of barraging, beatdown. You know, this card's this is a famous card, I will say. You know,
what a beautiful card.
Intimidates. It gives a buff unless they block with 2 cards. Obviously, it can be a little hard to get them to the point where they can't block with 2 cards. But the nice thing about Intimidate is that they don't get to choose which cards they're blocking with. So they could be, you know, in up a creek, you know, as they say. So Barraging Beatdown, great card to be playing. Oh, what else? We got a Bellow. Primeval
Bellow.
A 0-cost brute action. As additional cost to play it, you discard a random card. And if you discard a 6, guess what? Guess what, folks? You're intimidating because you're playing Rhinar. And then your next brute attack gains +3, 4, or 5 based on the color that you're playing. That's a pretty nice buff on your club, right? Even with the blue, right? Swinging for, well, let's say you Primeval Bellow, you discard a 6, all of a sudden your club's at 5, and then this is going to get another 3. That's 8. It's a pretty meaty attack. If you're playing club, you should play Pummel.
Yeah.
So we got all the Pummels in here, which is kind of fun. Pummel obviously does not trigger the discard, like on the weapon, but you're playing other 2-cost attacks in here that you can still pummel. This is you're not completely relying on the Romping Club. That would be almost impossible. Rolling Thunder is another great card. Pitch a blue, Rolling Thunder. The 2 resources left. You swing for 1 with Romping Club +1 to 6, depending on how well you roll. We're just gonna assume it's always 6. Uh, Skullcrack, Command and Conquer is just in there because Command and Conquer is really good and it's really good with Pummel.
Yeah.
Skullcrack is good value off of your discards. It's also a Pummel target. Swing Big, best brute card in the game, maybe.
Oh yeah, you love Swing Big,
and that's a great Pummel target. I mean, hell, Beast Within. This is just. I think it's if you're discarding cards, you want to play Beast Within. I have Findle's Fighting Spirit in here, just because it's a 6 and some life gain, and I build so many brute decks, and I just don't know why I don't play more yellow Findle's Fighting Spirit. I think the card's Gasorino, as they say. Smash Instinct, good card, nice yellow. And in the blues we have, outside of the other rainbows, we have Clearing Bellow. I have Vidya, really normal card that for someone to have. No, I'm kidding. I got a really sweet deal from somebody else on this podcast. And then Wrecker Romp, the best blue in the game.
Yeah.
Full stop. And yeah, this is a concept that I'm working on. This is not the fresh tech of the week, but I wanted to talk about it because, I play Scabskins, obviously, in the deck. And it just seems like a lot of fun. I can't wait to test it out a bit and see if it's any good, right? But I think it's at least a very fun concept. And you know what? Yeah. It's probably a good thing for us to start just having fun in this game, right?
Absolutely.
And because as you see, they don't ban fun things. I mean, they might be fun for some people. We'll talk about it in a bit, but hypothermia is not exactly what I would call fun at instant speed, no less. So, but yeah, what do you think about that kind of concept, Gary?
Oh, I love it. I know. I'm really waiting for this game to be a lot more open ended. I like the idea of Brandish. I'm surprised you're not playing the yellows, but many. Don't want too many yellows. I see. Is there a reason you're playing Fyendels over Reincarnate?
Life gain. That's it.
That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, because right, it does gain if you attack with it, which is kind of nice. I mean, sure, it blocks essentially for the same if you're lower on life. I don't know. I think Reincarnate. If I was playing Medax, it'd be Reincarnate, right?
Yeah.
Pop that sucker back on the bottom.
Get it in there.
But yeah, and there's no Bloodrush Bellow. I thought about it. I don't know. It's definitely an opportunity. If you've noticed when I was talking about, there's only 60 cards, so I haven't really explored sideboard. There's a totally I could totally just figure out a way to board into Bloodrush Bellow Claws in this deck, which would be kind of a lot of fun as well, just to be able to have that kind of flexibility. So yeah, Bloodrush Bellow is definitely in my mind about this deck right now, but I'm just looking at some just options because I do like the Primeval Bellow, especially with the club, and Barraging Beatdown seems like a no-brainer for me. So, but you also need to have 6s.
I really like the idea of brandishing clubs. I'm going not in club, claws, because a claw attacks for 3, and if any of the brandishes hit, the claw becomes 4. So you're basically just sitting there waiting, and if they take the 1, then they'll deal with that 4 break point, which is actually really nice for that blue. So yeah, I really like it. I think Medax could be definitely interesting as well. But so many brandishes, it's definitely hard to make sure you hit your Medax, and that's the whole point, right? Of Medax, you wanna just keep swinging 6s.
Yeah, and if you're playing Medax, you lose Pummel, right? I mean, as a target, and the same thing with claws. I imagine that would be what you board. You'd have to board out the Pummels for the claws,
right?
It's interesting. I can't wait to play around with it. I'll be messing around with this kind of deck. I might just build it and bring it to Indy just to kind of jam games. Yeah, I probably won't be playing it in the main event, but I love the concept. I want to explore it. It can only get better, right? Most things, but We'll see. But
yeah, I like where your head's at with it.
thank you. Thank you. No TLFL. I always forget what
Tear limb from limb.
tear limb from limb.
Am I a brute player? Have I read the acronym too many times to know?
I know.
I used.
It's like I've played that card once in like one deck, and I've never really played it in Levi. I know people really like that card. You know, I do like that. I mean, it's possible that these are all cards that folks are mentioning in the chat that will be added into the sideboard for some kind of transformational like stuff going on. But this is just the core idea, because this isn't the full deck tech yet. I'm sure a couple weeks I might have a fully fleshed out version of this, and we can talk about it at the end of the show. So yeah, this is where my head's at. But now bands will make her dance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, these cheeks clapping. They ain't using claws.
They ain't using claws. Let me actually bring up the band announcement right now, so that we can kind of look at it, talk about it, and well, hell, you know, discuss. First of all, one notable thing about this, Gary, is Brian Gottlieb wrote this article.
Yeah.
So
it's a big difference.
It is a big difference, and it's I think it's a great difference because he's also a very vocal person on social media. He'll respond to people, which is very nice. We're getting reasonings like, well, you know, I think even he said on Twitter today, don't quote me on this, but he's like, we're not just banning to ban, right? There is data here that we're not sharing in this article because we can't list every data point, right? So there's clearly reasons. So the following changes have been made to Classic Construct, and they'll be effective next week, January 30th. Belittle's banned. Winter's, what was that?
Who needs it?
Who needs it? Winter's Wail is banned. Amulet of Ice is suspended until Icelander becomes Living Legend, as is Hypothermia.
Yeah.
All right, let's go one by one. Belittle, what are your thoughts?
Well, let's just say I'm a very happy person. I don't like Belittle and Viscerai. I know it's very selfish. I think that Belittle Viscerai was just a little bit, a little bit overrated. It was consistent. It added a bit of consistency, which is nice, but your overall damage output really, really was sacrificed. So from my perspective, it doesn't affect me at all. It does make the aggro matchups like Phi, and there were some Belittle Briars, right?
Yeah.
So some Belittle Briar, it makes those matchups a bit easier. I feel like this makes other decks play fair on the resource curve. One blue Minnowism to fuel your whole turn that you didn't even start in your hand is pretty strong. I mean, like the idea that you pay one, and as long as you have another attack in your hand, you can get 3 free resources is pretty strong. I think that this just puts aggro decks in a much more consistent resource curve, that it makes them actually have the right hand, you know what I mean, in order to attack. Doesn't like turn any belittle hand into a blue hand. So yeah, I think that this is a smart call.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you here. It kind of felt so one note, right? Kind of felt like, all right, we have an aggro deck. All right, Belittle Minnowism. Aggro deck, Belittle Minnowism. And at first it was kind of cool because like that card was getting to see play and whatnot, and it's kind of cool when they print these cool little combos like what the hell is it? Nimbleism, Nimble Strike, Slogism,
package, right?
Super nice little neat little combos, but the Belittle nonsense was a little bit above rate, and it provided some not that fun of deck building experience. And it's interesting that they waited this long, but I think it's been overdue. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with it as well. and I don't think it really hurts some things as much as people think. I think the deck building will adapt, right? But it definitely it's going to make some things a little bit more fair, and I know folks are thinking primarily Phi is going to feel a little bit more fair, and I guess Briar as well. But I think it's funny. Dagan and I recorded Fresh and Buds on Monday, and the whole theme of the podcast was like, is Oldham going to catch up to Briar? Oldham's really low. So I'm going to have to record after this. I'm going to have to record a disclaimer for the podcast ahead of the thing and say, by the way, we recorded this before the band announcement. Maybe Oldham's still good enough, but probably not. But what can you do? So Belittle, we're saying yay on Belittle, right?
Yeah, woo.
All right, next, Winter's Whale, the Frosty Hammer.
I'm so happy. I know, I feel so bad. I feel bad because Runeblade got their Duskblade taken right before the set even came out.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't even allowed to have ROP Majestic Weapon from Tales of Aria. And, I get it. Rosetta Thorn is very strong. It sees the most play. But the idea that you can block 3, force 4 damage with an on hit that prevents you from a lot of decks from taking their turn, especially with like all of the red decks like Dromai and Phi. The consistency that Oldham got because he was able to basically force 4 and then take 1 to 2 cards from your opponent late in the game just because it had a nasty on hit and he was able to save a card. It's a strong card. I think that it should be banned. I think that Duskblade should be. If Duskblade got banned before the set came out, Winter's Whale is not like at the same power level that Duskblade was. So I think it was fair to let Winter's Whale go for a while. I do think that I spent a bit of time with Dimitri, who top 8'd both of the Battle Hardened top 8 the ProQuest New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something. He's a big Bravo player. Like he plays Bravo. That's what he does. He's got that full Bravo, the rainbow foil Bravo deck because that's his boy, right? He was like, it's amazing that my only losses were to Guardians, particularly Oldham, and in that fatigue matchup, they can just keep 1 card and attack me for 4 with an on hit, and I have to attack back for 4 with no on hit.
Yeah. It's just a strict advantage.
It's just like a strict advantage of, okay, so because he's ice, he gets to attack me with an on hit for 4. There's no drawback. He also gets more cards. He also gets more abilities. The only difference is I get Crippling Crush for Bravo, right?
Yeah.
Like that's When he said that, it really made me think about the power level of Winter's Whale, just because it's a great weapon. I mean, in draft, it absolutely murders everybody in draft. Like if you open a Winter's Whale pack 3, you might as well just play 18 cracked baubles in a Winter's Whale. You know what I mean? So, what are your thoughts on it?
It's interesting, right? I'm totally on board with this ban. I was a little bit surprised about it. I think they could have hit something else probably. But I'm not unhappy with it. The thing is that's really sticking out to me, like I was like, Winter's Whale, that's crazy. Then I read the article and the first sentence of the Winter's Whale part, and something that was like, this is why I don't, design and develop games, but Winter's Whale is too strong for a one-handed guardian weapon. That is like the biggest thing, right? If that was two-handed, I think it would have been fine. Yeah. But you get Stalagmite, you get what the hell is the other one? Rampart. You get the buckler.
Temper Shield.
Temper Shield. You get
Lantern.
Defense. You get Lantern. It's pretty incredible. When you think about it like that. So I don't hate it. It's certainly going to make Oldham a lot worse. That's for sure. But hey, listen, you can still run the Titan's Fist and reliably attack for 4. And sure, there's no on hit anymore, but you can still fatigue and stuff like that. Like you still have options here where you can run your shields. So I think it's a good hit. Now it's interesting. So two of the three majestic weapons from Tales of Aria have been banned. Is Voltaire next?
Absolutely not. Voltaire is the one thing that makes Lexi actually playable. So, like, there's Death Dealer Lexi, and there's, you can play like Shiver Lexi and Blitz. I think Shiver Lexi and Commodore is what I've been playing. But like, yeah, Voltaire plus New Horizon is really just bread and butter Lexi. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
it doesn't like. Would I be happier if Voltaire got banned? Absolutely. That would mean that all of my bad matchups got hit. But no, Voltaire I think is fair. Voltaire is fair.
That's it. Voltaire is fair. Actually, Voltaire is like, I think, elegantly designed. That is a bow that it works so well, and then thematically it's really, really cool as well.
And the art, I mean, the playmat is just beautiful.
So cool. So we got Winter's Wail banned. Next, we have the two things that are suspended until Icelander becomes Living Legend. First is Amulet of Ice. Thoughts on that?
So I just want to say this. So the sentence suspended until Icelander becomes Living Legend. Yeah, all you Icelander players, that sentence appears somewhere else in the ban list, and it appears right next to Bloodsheath Skeleton. So if you are worried, you're thinking, oh, it can come back. It's suspended because it can, it can be, brought back. Just, maybe it's found out that Icelander needs those to perform well. Yeah, that's on the same power level as Bloodsheath Skeleton, if you think about it.
Yeah.
playing that as an instant, I get that it doesn't block. I mean, sure, like Bloodsheath Skeleton is a broken card. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just being a bit facetious here, but the idea that Amulet of Ice can be played at an instant with Icelander to make a Frostbite. I almost said a rune chant. Make a Frostbite, and then if you happen to play like Ether Icebane in the same turn, you can just like blow up their whole turn. Yeah. It's just like, that card is Amulet of Ice isn't really the problem, but it provides Icelander with this shield of control. And what this does is basically say Icelander we need to poke little holes in that shield of like being able to pick apart people's hands. I think that this is a good little ice pick adder, Unfortunately for Viscerai players, it means that Lexi and Oldhim don't get to have this as well, which I'd love to see.
Yeah. You're talking just about Amulet of Ice, right? Yep. I mean, Hypothermia. Amulet of Ice wasn't seeing a ton of play in the other two Ice heroes.
Lexi it was.
Lexi? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because they could reveal it, give you a Frostbite, and then play it, and then they could play whatever the arrow is called. The chilling Ice Vein. So you play attack with Chilling Ice Vein, you fuse it, and then you take a card from their hand, and then they have to block that arrow, or else they have to take another card from your hand.
Yeah. The Amulet of Ice was interesting. I don't think they had to take that one, but I'm glad they did. And I think their reasoning was pretty solid here. From what I remember, it was down here. Amulet of Ice was like, in the hands of a really great player, it is almost unbeatable, right? And you might say, well, you want the best players to be winning, but I don't think you want them to be unbeatable, right? So it was a smart hit. We all know that Icelander's pretty like strong, and I don't think this is going to completely dismantle Icelander and CC. Either of these suspensions, I think it's still going to be a potent deck. It's just not going to have that, like, oh, well, I have to wait around until I find my chance to strike, right? So it's interesting, but not unhappy about it. And then Hypothermia, I mean, this is a card that at instant speed is it just
backbreaking.
yeah, it breaks the game. So I think this is a great hit.
Yeah.
Because it does suck for Lexi, right?
Mhm.
Oldham wasn't really. I mean, maybe they sideboarded in sometimes, but I rarely ever saw it. Maybe because I'm always playing Levia. So, but it's really, it was really just too good in Icelander. Do you
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah, I think like my comment about Bloodchief Skeleton earlier was that it's banned until Viscerai is banned, and I think that playing this at instant speed can like absolutely ruin a whole turn. Like if somebody just eats a bunch of damage, like to be able to you know they say okay, I'm gonna have a whole turn, but okay, I took a bunch of arcane damage from Icelander on my turn. Maybe I took a whole wounded bull so that way I can bounce back with 8, 10, 12 damage. And then Icelander just plays hypothermia as an instant after your like Mauvrian Skies resolves, or like your I don't know, you attack with Dawnblade.
Yeah.
Does it hit weapons,
Oh,
or
that's
is
a
it just
good
attack
question.
actions?
I wish I could just click it. I don't remember. You can look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick.
But yeah, it just was.
Oh, it hits weapons, attacks you control.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's pretty good against claws.
Yeah.
Oh man, hypothermia. Good riddance, I would say.
Yeah. Get rid of it.
Yeah, I think it'll be totally fine in once Icelander goes away. But so
Yeah.
we have these bans and suspensions. What do you think the meta looks like now
Yeah.
from an
So
outside perspective?
yeah. So I'm not a huge like meta guy. Obviously, I play purple characters, and that's about it. But
Sure.
um, there was some very interesting conversations going on in the Buds Discord. Actually, I don't know if you were finding those, but basically, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Dash is better. Dash is better." But the Buds we're talking about, and Capolo in chat here can talk to this. Actually, Dash has better matchups into some of those lists.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, granted, hypothermia makes Dash a bit better because that way they don't have that boost thing that they have to deal with. Um, but the idea that Dash's good matchups get worse means that Dash might actually have a bit of a problem, and I think this is a great little segue into our Fresh Five about
Mm-hmm.
which decks are going to be better, right? Um, I think that Dromai only has things to gain from this. Like, I also admittedly think that other than Dromai, the clock has a lot to gain from this. Going to be waiting around a bit less from at the tournament, so that's always good. But yeah, Dromai number one is going to be the best one to benefit from this. And I don't know about you, Tom, but I love facing a Dromai. I think it's one of the most fun matchups for my deck personally.
Yeah.
I really like playing against it. We have a few very good Dromai players locally, and those games are always really tight. But Mauvrian Skies is the best card in the whole game against the Dragons.
Yeah.
So if Dromai does better, I'm happy. Also, Dromai is just a really unique character. I'm really happy for the Illusionist players who are feeling a little bit disenfranchised because Prism left. So I feel like Dromai is the number one to gain. Oldham was their worst matchup. If I think Oldham was their worst matchup. It could be Brute because of all the sixes, but I'm pretty sure it's Oldham because they could just freeze out their whole turn. I could be wrong. I'm not crazy into that, but I know that those games always went super long,
Yeah.
and that it was basically a high skill intensive matchup. Next one I think that will be awesome in this meta is Viscerai, because Oldham sucks now. So Oldham is one of the hardest decks to play against as Viscerai. I've been tweaking a little bit to play like Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath and like Runic Reclamations. Like those are normally in, but the idea is they will hit the hypothermia on the turns that you don't need to go again. So you're just threatening 7 with an on hit that destroys an aura that doesn't. You basically, it's just like a slap in the face, honestly, if somebody plays hypothermia. But the idea the idea that Viserai's worst matchups, which are the ice matchups, got worse, and it shores up the Fi matchup where their deck is just a little bit less consistent and they deal a lot less damage, over time. Really shores up that deck. The idea that the Dromai is going to get better again is going to be really huge, just because if you have back-to-back Mauvri and Skies turns, there's nothing really Dromai can do, because if they're just trying to build their board, all they're doing is giving you targets. So Viserai is better when Dromai is better, I think. I also think Dory's going to have a better time with this, just because the idea that the ice react from from Oldhim was brutal, and the idea that you had to pitch an extra one into the Dawnblade swing for Dory for that if you wanted to block that Winter's Wail. If you had to block the Winter's Wail with Dory, it was a lot more likely that you lost your counters into Oldhim. Cap says Dash will be trash. Yeah,
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't think Dash is gonna be trash, but I do think that the matchups, you're gonna see a lot less Oldhams. You're gonna see maybe a few more Dromais, and if Dromai, I know that Dash is one of the hardest. Dromai is one of the hardest matchups for Dash in particular, just because she can block really well and still be able to put out damage. Yeah, so along with Dory, Viserai, and Dromai, I think honestly, I mean Briar, they basically made Briar a lot better. Like where Viserai is better, Briar is pretty much this equally better. Except the Dromai matchups are not as as easy for Briar, because they don't just play the Mauvri and Skies or have those non-player on hits like Viserai likes to play. I think that Briar's great, and honestly, any other deck that really liked that ice react or didn't like the ice react, I don't know about you, but the ice react for me was horrible.
Yes.
I don't know how Brute is with the ice react, but wow. So as long as there's fewer Oldhams, I'm feeling like Brute will probably have a better time. Like making them put your Arsenal card on top of your deck is just so brutal. And so I feel like Reiner actually gets a lot better here, because the aggro decks get worse, which means you have more time to be able to swamp them down or slash them, whichever way you do it. Probably clubs, right? Probably claws, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing with Brute is that you can do so many different ways, and I think it doesn't matter the meta, but one way will be the best. It's hard to say. Depends on what shows up to the tournament, but yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so that's my 5. I think Reiner just has a lot to gain overall. I think Reiner, I mean, I know we talk about how they don't have, you guys don't have a good blue 6 other than Wrecker Run, but I really feel like Reiner is just if Reiner got too consistent, he could be a big problem.
Yes.
And that's just something that, the game kind of has to deal with. And unfortunately, Brute players are super passionate. And so I do think that Brute has a lot to gain. I think Runeblood has a lot to gain. And I think Dromai has a lot to gain, and Dory as well.
All right, yeah. So we actually have a pretty similar list here, right? So I do have Rhinar and Leviah, right?
Yeah.
Brutes. Leviah definitely. You could build your deck to really win against Oldhim, and it's like definitely possible. But I will say, if Oldhim was like leaning heavily into the ice, it was a real problem, right? I played a Pro Quest over the weekend, and one of my losses that got me to kind of bubble out was against an Oldhim who was Pummel, Frostfang, Winter's Wail. Just like that is a serious problem. And like when they lose that Winter's Wail, that deck, it's still like a viable thing, but it's not going to feel as potent, I don't think.
Don't forget, sorry, Ice Amulet of Ice is another ice blue for Winter's Wail.
It is.
And the ice react.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think Leviah has the meta looks a lot better from Leviah. Not like it's great, right? I don't think Leviah's out here going to be a super contender, but it's going to feel a little bit better because, first of all, the lack of Winter's Wail, the lack of Amulet of Ice in Icelander is huge, right? If you lose your whole turn to Icelander, you could very well lose the game.
Right.
If you lose a whole turn in Leviathan in general, like it can be backbreaking unless you're playing like a fatigue kind of way to play. So Leviathan's looking good. Rhinar, I think I 100% agree. I think Rhinar is like in a great spot, almost to the point where I wonder if Rhinar, this might be the best spot Rhinar's ever been in, right? And I think we saw a little bit of that in San Jose right before Dynasty, right? With the Rhinar that won the calling. I think folks are going to kind of go back to the drawing board with that, and kind of smash. And another reason why I think Rhinar is a great choice is because another deck that gets a lot better is Bravo.
Yes.
Bravo is all of a sudden is, I think, the big dog on campus.
That's a good point. Yeah, I forgot about Bravo.
Bravo's going to be prevalent because I think a lot of these Oldham players are going to say, well, I can't swing the hammer. I might as well do some crippling crush. I think people are still going to play Oldham. It's just not going to feel as good without the Winter's Will, right? You know, I think in like Blitz, folks would like side in Sledge. I think at one point Sledge was in sideboards for CC as well. It's not the same, right? And if you start doing that, and even Titan's Fist, without that kind of disruption of Winter's Will, the clock becomes a real problem for Oldham. So Bravo's in a great spot, and I got to give credit where credit's due. Briar's looking like Briar's going to actually LL. Yeah. Now, if I mean, it's got 2 callings to with a chance to win in February, which either calling's going to give it LL, and Viscerai looks great, right? And a lot of the reason that I think all of these decks look great right now is because Dromai does look great. I don't have Dromai on the list, but I'm looking at 5 decks that I think go the distance against Dromai. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people in their head right now are like, Dromai's the business. And maybe it is, but I think it's going to have a tougher time because there's going to be a lot of things targeting it. So,
that's a good point.
When like you can target Oldham and Icelander, but they were kind of in a way like they're so disruptive that even if you target it, they can eke out the win, right? Because they had such great tools. Dromai is great. I think Dromai is an awesome deck, but it doesn't have that kind of safety net that those decks had. So I'll be interested. That's where I'm at with it. I expect to see a lot of Bravo in Indy. Yeah, because Indy's going to be the first tournament, right? With this ban list. Yeah. I expect to see a lot of Bravo, Briar, probably a ton of Viscerai, to be honest.
Let's go.
And Dromai. I think Icelander's still going to be played, right? I think Icelander's still a fine deck, and I don't. It gets slightly worse, but it's not. It's definitely not bad. Oldham, I think people are going to try. It's just not going to be good enough, I don't think. So
I'll gladly take 4 on no icy. I'll take that all day. I mean, you gotta think about Oldham still gets pummel. He gets pummel. He gets command and conquer pummel. Is just it's great. So
it's a tales all the time. It's like buffalo wings and blue cheese. It's just it's been around forever, man. I mean, but that's kind of funny. What's gonna be fun though is when you're playing an Oldham and they swing with the Titan's Fist. You're like, is that warm? Is that cold or warm? Oh, it's warm. Got it.
Just pull the frostbite out of your binder and just like flip it over. Like you have the frostbite token, flip it over under the.
Oh, it's not okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll take the 4. I think we're good. We're taking the 4. But I mean, Titan's Fist is still. I mean, a 1 card swing for 4. Yeah. It's still no joke. I mean, look at Romping Club. Buffaloes do not have wings. Maybe where you're from, Capolo, but here in America, buffaloes fly all over the place. But you know,
It's the wooder.
it's
You
the
know.
wooder here. But you know, hey, listen, those are the 5 decks that we think stand to gain. So, do you want to talk about your updates that you made to the book chain deck? Actually, talk
Yes,
about
I do.
let's bring it up here, right?
Mhm.
And I want to because you played it in
Yeah.
New Jersey. I think we talked
Mhm.
about that a little bit last week,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Just a little bit.
but bring us through what's going on. What your thoughts about the deck? Like, you know, uh, how you feeling? How you feeling, bro?
Yeah. Well, you know me. I did not play a lick of OTK Viscerai. Like, I didn't play it at all because I felt that there's a lot more fun ways to play Viscerai. The idea that he, adds +1 to all of your attacks is like really good. So why would you just try an OTK somebody? I know a lot of people love that strategy. The idea that you could, do the whole crazy Sonata turn with the Skelda, awesome. Awesome. I respect it. I miss Skelda and Blitz here, to be honest. But I have to say, I love Carrion Husk. I love it. I love it. I know it's been a long time coming. I love Carrion Husk. It's one of those cards where you're like, oh, you attack. Oh, Dory swings me for 8 go again. Oh, okay. Nourishing Emptiness. All right. Husk. Like that kind of thing. I'm just like, yeah, all right. I get it. I get why Husk. I get why Husk is good. Have I lost to my own blood debt a few times? Yeah, I have.
Welcome to the
It's
club, bro.
but it's only one maybe two a turn. But yeah, so the idea behind the original chain deck here was that one, chain and blitz is actually super good. So he's got a lot of the aggro plan. He's really good at counting to 20, and that's when I think about heroes that are good in blitz versus good in CC. I think about what heroes are good at counting to 20 versus 40, right? And so chain's just really good at getting to that 20. But people don't expect this at all. Like they don't expect you not to attack. They don't expect you, like some people actually want you to go first because they want to be able to block. Um, and so what I've learned with this deck is that one, book is super good. It's one of those. This is one of those decks that you like on paper. You're like, what the fuck are you playing, dude? Like, like if you like, I probably wouldn't do the battle harden with this, but like if you want to spike a side event, you you could just get a lot of reps in this and just completely side swipe everybody because they don't know how the deck works. And I'm not particularly good at it yet, I will say. But I want to shout out to Greg, not the producer Greg, but there's another Greg in the Buds Discord who was like, I just want to play chain with the book with the tiara. Like that's what he said. I was like, all right. And then he was in the Buds Discord. We were just throwing cards in. And he called it Princess Chain. And so that's the original name. But I have renamed it and just tweaked it a little bit. And I've called it Chain Keeper of the Doomy Decimal, because he's a bit of a librarian, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, we're still playing the tiara when it's relevant. Sutcliffe, the book's really good because with this deck you're basically playing OTK Viscerai, except your Read the Runes and Blessings of the Occult have go again, which is extremely relevant. Yes, Big Richard.
Yeah. And what's up, Ten and Monto?
Oh,
Welcome.
how's it going? Yeah, welcome. Yeah, so we're just talking about this chain deck. And what I found is that some people don't actually play the AB also. So like you basically are like, okay, well, I'm just gonna like maybe a Phi or something. I'm just gonna race. So it's like, okay, well, you're gonna race me. I'll just block you out until I have 20 rune chance, and then you're dead.
Yeah.
Like you're dead. Like that's it. So what's key about this versus regular, OTK Viscerai is one, the ways that you make rune chants very quickly. In Viscerai, you're required to do that as your only thing for the turn. In Chain, you're not required to do that at all. You could block 6 and then play 2 red Read the Runes in the same turn. So that's like a lot of rune chants. That's 6 damage off of 2 cards on the following turn. Um, the idea that you can also play a decent number of attacks to filter with your book to be able to draw a card and potentially make a rune chant. Like, if you think about how many bad hands you have where you're like, oh man, I wish this blue was something else, or I wish this, you can basically just turn any blue into another card, which is kind of neat with book. You draw a card regardless of what you pitch to it. What I did from the original list was I toned down the amount of D-reacts. One, I found that my wizard matchup was really bad.
Sure.
Because too many reds made it really impossible to, live. They don't have Aether, whatever, it's the fire one, the combo. They can't combo you, which is nice. R.I.P. Mo Bogsley. But you do have, like 10 D-reacts. What is it? You got that's all you got. You've got Sigil of Suffering. 4 reduced to rune chance. I've got a Fate Foreseen. The Sync Blows, I think, in here somewhere too. But yeah, so basically the idea is you make a bunch of rune chants, but you also have these powerful attacks to back it up. And the issue with OTK Viscerai is if you popped off too early, there was really no way to finish, right? Because like if you get them down to 3, how are you supposed to kill them? You're only playing like 5 attacks, or maybe you're playing more if you're playing the Sonata plan. But with this, you see these amplifies. I've got 4 amplifies. I've got 6 meet and greets. Amplify is an insane card. Like, I play it in Viscerai, and it's very good because it's, it's a popper. It's also just, it can be a free 6 or 5 attack. But in this, like, you can like give Read the Runes Go Again and then play Amplify the Arcanite, and that's a 2-card hand.
Yeah, it's pretty sick, right?
It's pretty sick, right? You're able to block 6, and then you can present 9 damage. The idea that you can just do this on a whim is very powerful. And it's not expected, right? I'm not very good at managing like the amount of rune chance I need to go before it to pop off. And I feel like this deck gives me a little bit of a safety valve to be able to handle that, right? Because I was playing against Pat Shaw yesterday, and I lost to Dory because I held out too long.
Yeah.
But if I had popped off earlier and then had a follow-up turn, I feel like I could have actually taken tempo a bit. This deck has this weird balance of being a mid-range tempo deck that wants to get them super, super low, and then you have like Invert Existence to be able to kill them. Some decks don't play attacks and non-attacks, which is hard. Like, you have to, if you play against Dory, you have to have they have to have the Nourishing Emptiness, or Kano's not going to play attacks. So the Invert Existence is pretty much a dead card in those matchups, but it's also just a blue, right? But against Fi, you can get rid of the Phoenix Flames.
Mm-hmm.
Against Briar, they always have non-attacks. They always have attacks. So certain decks like Dromai always, Dromai has attacks. Dromai has non-attacks. Prism has attacks and non-attacks. So it's like, yeah. Actually, she has more instants, doesn't she? Well, no, she has auras, and auras are not instants. So, but yeah. This deck is really fun. I really like it. It has a lot of poppers. Soul Reaping is a really good card. It's basically like another 9th Blade that you can just play. Soul Reaping, pitching an Invert Existence to then play the Invert Existence is just a really. I get why people liked Chain. You know what I mean? I get why people like it.
It was an awesome deck, honestly.
It was an awesome deck. It's just this version is so different because people expect to have to play this aggro matchup. And then you are turtling, and then you're like, it's basically the idea that you make people unsettled is a key advantage with playing this deck.
Yep.
It's basically like you playing Levia, right? Not a lot of people know how to play against Levia, so that
yeah,
that gives you an advantage.
No, we are not the same, Gary. It's not that people don't know how to play against Levia. It's that they just don't know what the cards are. They're just like, what? There's no on hit? No, it's just 6, man. And I banish 3 cards so I don't die. But no, I love this kind of style, and I commented in the chat that it makes me actually want to play Blitz, right? Because that's my favorite thing, is to kind of catch people off guard, like when I built that Saber Dagger Bolton, right? Mm-hmm. That was like, well, people are going to expect Raiden or combo, and then you're like, Saber Dagger, and they're like, what, you know?
Yep.
And you're just like, you're hitting them with snatch, and they're like, this was not how it was supposed to go. And the same, so it's like, it's Leviop. It is 9 dominate. I did that earlier today on Title Shard. It's great. But it is, this is the thing I love about Flesh and Blood, right? Is, you get to present this hero, and there's right now there's X amount of options that it could be.
Mhm.
But when you're looking at something like this, you're kind of cracking that code, right? And you're challenging the status quo of people's expectations, which I think is so cool. And and I mean, you love your yellows.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them.
It's a great way to play, because you can pitch into, you can pitch a yellow and a red, an aura, to be able to make a rune chant and going. And with this deck, I will say you want to go first. Like,
Yeah.
if you're playing any no matter who it is, you want to go first, because not only do you have that first turn, like, oh, I pitch to my grasp of the Arknight, but you can also, like, if your hand is read the runes, blessings of occult, you can pitch into your grasp, activate chain, play read the runes, play blessings of the occult, and then you can be on, turn 1 with 6 rune chants. It's kind of nuts. Like, I will say, like, the ceiling on this deck is really high, and the floor is super low as well. But I think with enough reps and just like tweaking it a little bit, like in a few weeks, I might have a new version. But it makes me really want to play Blitz more. And I was holding out for a hero, and I think fake Viscerai Chain is really where I am.
yeah. I mean, if I saw this, right, like just what's going on here, I didn't see what hero, I would be like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, I didn't know that Chain could play Invert Existence. Yeah. And then you're like, scroll up, like, oh, Chain.
A Viscerai. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome.
And Carrion Husk is the best card in the game.
I mean, come on. You start at, what is this Blitz? 26. You start at 26.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. So, like, if you think about it that way, if it is in your banish zone for 6 turns, then it equals out.
Yep. Yeah, and I've gotten, how much I love Arcanite Skullcap, right? Like, I've gotten so good. You'd be so proud of me, Tom. I go down to 13, and then I throw that Husk. You'd be so proud, because I refuse to let that shit go to the graveyard without blocking with it.
Oh yeah, I love playing against really good players when I have Husk on the field, because they they'll present like the worst attack ever, and you're at 14, and you're just like, yeah, I like, and like, you have to challenge you, like, you're sitting there, you're at 14, they attack with like a 1 attack, go again, right? And you have to be like, okay, if I don't block this, are they willing to sacrifice the rest of their turn just so my Husk goes away?
Yeah.
So usually I'm just like, all right, what else you got? And then they're like, move to Arsenal. I'm like, all right, there goes the Husk. So, man, Husk is fun. But it was a good episode tonight.
Yeah.
You have a meal of the week?
Yeah, yesterday it's Restaurant Week in Philadelphia, Center City. Philadelphia Restaurant Week. A bud, one of my Flesh and Buds. We went to this restaurant called Mixed Two in Center City. I got like a ribeye with I got king crab empanadas with a ribeye. I got a peach mule, and the dessert was a strawberry tres leches. It was so good. I didn't take a picture because it was really dark. So I should have. I know I'm disappointing, but it was super dark. But yeah, it was nice. We hung out, a little bit of a double date with Francis and Carrie, and me and Paige. So it was nice.
Sounds nice. And hi, Devin. Welcome. We're here at the end here. Sorry if you missed some of it, but
you can scroll back. It's YouTube.
Scroll on back. That's why we keep the VOD up. Folks can. Hey, listen. I know that good friend of the show, Tall Timmy, watches after the fact. And,
After hours, if you will.
Yeah. Oh man, who's better than the Tall Timmy? Let's be honest. What's my meal of the week? You know what? I'll give Lady Fresh a shout out. She made a wonderful fig balsamic chicken on polenta tonight, which was good.
I don't want to shout.
What was that?
I also want to shout out Lady Fresh. I'm very excited for her to start the new season of Love Island.
Oh yes, next week. I can't wait. You know, I can't wait because it gives me an opportunity to go like work on content while she's watching the show. But yeah. You got anything you want to plug here, Gary?
Yeah, I want to plug this.
Oh yeah,
Fresh and Buds on YouTube. If you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe. At 500, I'm gonna turn into a bloody rabbit, and Tom's gonna be a tentacle monster. But with no context, trying to hit 500 subscribers, and Tom's gonna do a Levia cosplay, and I'm gonna be covered in blood. So, yeah, I want to also plug the Twitter at Mr. Viz. I'm been trying to tweet a bit, hang out on Twitter a bunch while it's still alive. And yeah, if you're not already, join the Buds Discord. We are, just a community that just likes to, hang out. We play a lot of different stuff. I want to play some Blitz. So if you're, if you're thinking about playing Blitz, hop into the Buds Discord. I'm at Mr. Vizzy Glizzy right now. I think I forget what my name is.
It makes it really hard to tag you and things. I'm like, all right, who is he now?
Yeah. But yeah, join the Buds Discord. We're just, we're playing different games, hanging out. And it's it's a good time over there. We're just, I'm the number one level ranked chatter, so
How hilarious.
How hilarious. But yeah, that's all I really want to plug. Thanks again for everybody who got the merch. We're gonna look into having some, if you missed the purchase deadline, we're gonna look into having some on hand once the merch orders ship. So
awesome. And just to say, Gary's number one ranked in the Discord because he has no life.
Yes.
No. I'm going to catch up now that Love Island's back on.
Yeah,
I hope. I'm number 2. Though I gotta say, I think Rabbit's very close to me last time I checked, which is like I've been so busy with work and stuff like that. It's very hard for me to rank up, but I'll start grinding soon. But you can continue to find me on Twitter at FreshBudsPod. Like Gary said, check the Discord. It's awesome. Check out the Patreon. We got stuff. We're gonna film some packs to be cracked. Hopefully, I get my Fabled after the show. And Fresh and Buds, Dagan White's on tomorrow. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I have to finish editing after this actually because I put it off. I will say, actually, why not? I have some articles coming out next month on a certain website that is a great weekend.
Bellow.
Bellow.
Bellow.